Oh, okay. I think I know what the problem is. I think I had my mic muted. Okay, so you should be able to hear me now. Okay, can everybody hear me now? Okay, how about now? Okay, very good. Okay, thanks, Dana. Um, what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be continuing on in the product creation challenge, and are actually going to. I'm going to fit in the training that I'm going to be doing on vMerge, and aMerge for Genius Trainer Pro sometime this week. I haven't figured out when it's going to be. For those of you who are part of the Fusion Club, I'm going to be meeting with you this week. I'm probably going to be getting an email out to you tonight, and then tomorrow night is the integration training where we just kind of talk about all the systems all together, and then Thursday we will come back to the product creation challenge. So hopefully you are working ahead, and that you are actually doing and kind of following along. What I want to do is are there any questions on the product creation process? Now, last time I didn't really finish everything that I intended to finish. I'm going to finish. I'm going to start from that point, finish tonight, and then still get you out of here within 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, so now, are there any questions on the product creation process? You should now be at the point where you were doing an outline. You should have already kind of decided on the pain you're going to solve. Should always decide on the one problem in that pain you're going to solve and what your product is going to be. Remember, it doesn't have to be make money online. In this particular product, it can be just the thing you know how to solve. Remember, the point to this is that you're going to go through the process of creating a product to sell. So we want to kind of get into what else needs to be done, and I want to kind of cover the product creation process from the the standpoint of some of the tools that you already have. So with that being said, I am going to turn on my presentation if there are no questions. And let's see, I'm going to turn on my slide presentation here. All right, and I am going to share my screen with you. Okay, so when you see my screen, okay, if you can see my presentation, please put the number 1 in the question box. Okay, so if you can see my presentation, please put the number 1 in the question box. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay, now in the last session, we talked about the fact that one of the ways in which you're going to actually be able to use Webinar Fusion Pro to create the product, right? So let's say that you're a little intimidated by creating lots of PDFs and lots of little videos. And again, I understand that not everybody's going to be wanting to do that. Not everybody will kind of work through that. And for some people, I know that actually, if you've got to create 10 little videos and you got to go back and edit them, for some folks that's gonna be a deal breaker, right? So some folks are not gonna follow through on the product creation process, mainly because that part of it is just not something you want to do, and you're not really ready to outsource that yet. So that being said, what we want to do is one of the things we talked about the other night, and I showed you how to do this on the call. If you want to see it, you can go back to the call that I did last time, referred to it, is to create a paid live webinar. So in other words, you can use Webinar Fusion Pro to have a paid webinar that you're going to deliver live. And remember, one of the reasons why we said you're going to deliver a live webinar is because it'll force you to give your best content to a live audience. So in other words, when you know people are there, you're going to do the best you can at presenting in order to be clear, right? That's the advantage of doing it with a webinar as opposed to doing it just by video. Okay, now you can also create a paid recorded webinar with Webinar Fusion Pro. We went over that last time. Again, that's in the last presentation. If you missed that, how to do that, I showed you how to do that on the screen. And one of the things that I've been talking about this week is the summit that I'm going to be attending. And by the way, next week during, I think it's 17th through the 20th, right? When the summit is going to be, we're not going to have any sessions. I'm actually going to be at that summit. So I'm going to be attending that summit. So hopefully you'll be attending too. Now, one of the things that you can do with Webinar Fusion Pro, and you're actually seeing it now, right? Because in the same way that Ron and Alice are creating a summit, you can too, right? And I've created a summit before, right? I created a summit for offline marketers, and I created the summit, and it was and I was a PLR creator. I was trying to reach the offline people together in order to speak on how to get more customers, right, in the offline market. That's one thing I did. Some of you all actually have that product, right? Some of you all own that product. And so that is one way for you to use Webinar Fusion Pro to create a paid summit. Now, obviously, you're going to have to do a little work in terms of putting together a members area. You're going to have to do a little work in terms of getting people to the webinar. But once you actually set up the summit, it's a pretty nice thing, because the people who are going to be creating the content for you are the experts, right? So your job is going to be the host. Your job is not going to night during your summit. And it's a really cool way to actually give people value. You can create a free summit. And one of the benefits of creating a free summit, if you can get people to present for you, is that people will come. They'll come for the guests that you have, right? Or they'll come because they want to solve the problem that you're setting forth, right? So you can create a free summit with Webinar Fusion Pro, or you can just do webinars and use the content for audio recordings, which you can sell or use as a bonus. You can use the transcription. So in other words, you can take the video and have it transcribed at SpeechPad. We have a transcriptionist here that'll do it, and I think it's about $1 a minute, right? So you can actually have your webinar transcribed into a document, and then you can have that transcription turned into an ebook and put on Amazon or iTunes, right, or both, right? Amazon, iTunes, and Google Books, right? So you can have an ebook there. You can also and one of the things I didn't talk about last time is that once you create your webinar and it's on YouTube, you can actually start promoting that video, and you just monetize the video and put AdSense on it, right? So you can do all kinds of things, and that's not technically giving people the product, but it is monetizing the video you create with Webinar Fusion Pro. Okay, so is everybody clear on just on how you go through, or how you can use Webinar Fusion Pro in the product creation process? If that makes sense to you, what I just went over, please put the number 2 in the question box, right? If you understand now, and again, a lot of this is stuff that I went over in the last session, but you can use Webinar Fusion Pro to create your product. So you already have Webinar Fusion Pro, you might as well use it. And Webinar Fusion Pro is not just for webinars, it's also for product creation if you know how to use it. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about creating products with PLR and rights products, right? Creating products with PLR and with rights products. Now, how many of you have right now, you already have PLR, you have lots of ebooks on your hard drive, right? Whether or not you got them as a bonus or you bought them, how many of you have lots of, private label rights content, lots of master resale rights content, lots of resale rights content? How many of you all have that on your hard drive? Okay, yeah. So now the question then becomes, can I just sell that outright, or can I use that content in order, right? In order to can I use that content in order to create my own product, right? So I want to talk about that a little bit today. Now, one of the things that you can use your PLR to do is to organize your points. You might wonder, what does that mean? What do I mean when I say use PLR to organize your points? Well, in some cases, and I talked about doing this with the PLR. Now, this is the PLR product that some of you all downloaded. That's in my email. That was free to you today. It's a master resale rights product, and it might be a little blurry to you, but that's okay. The point of it is really just to show you that, okay, this PLR product has 11 pages, right? It has about 13 or 14 sections, right? And so you can actually organize a product around these topics. Right now, in this particular case, this product you have master resale rights to, so you probably won't be doing that. But if you had PLR rights, right, what you could do is you can take each one of these sections in order to create a video for that section. I mean, really easy. You don't want to overthink this. You just really want to follow the pattern, right? That was today's email, Sharon, right? Today's email. I think I gave a link out to that. Okay, so now when I say PLR, use PLR to organize your points, this is something that most people don't do. And it's something that John Rhodes taught me a long time ago that I never forgot. And probably not even a lot of people were listening to him, is that, and I've said this on other calls, I might have even said this on the 30-day challenge. You want to get different PLR in the same subject, right? So in other words, if you know that your niche is going to be video marketing, when you find PLR, when somebody puts out PLR on video marketing, you want to get it, right? You want to start looking to go and get all the PLR there is on video marketing. And why would I do that? I would do that because, and I'm actually going to show you why that is here in a minute. But if your niche is going to be in one particular area, right, and you've settled on that, you want to get as much as you can on your subject in that area, right? And you might say, now, why do I want all that stuff on my hard drive? What am I going to do with all that? I can't even sell all those products. But that's not really the point of having PLR in the first place, right? The point of having PLR is to have content, right? PLR is the raw material of having your own product. And I'm going to show you that here in a minute. You want to always organize your PLR in that way. So in other words, you want to be able to find your PLR on your computer using your search. So when you rename and recategorize, you want to put your PLR in folders in ways that make sense to your brain. If you take time to do that, whenever you buy your PLR, you're going to be able to use it whenever you want to. If you think that that's too much work and you don't do it, you're probably not going to be able to find the PLR when you need it. Right? So when you get a PLR package, you organize it first. And again, I know it's a pain. I know it's kind of like, why do I have to stop and do this? This isn't going to make me any money. Actually, it will. You are going to save time by being able to find this PLR. And again, I'm going to explain to you why that's important here in a minute. And again, I just said, you probably have at least PLR products on video marketing. I mean, you can just fill in the blank with video marketing. It could be anything, right? You probably have 3 or 4 products on the same topic. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, here's what I think you should do. Right? Here's what I think you should do. And I'm going to tell you how to do that here in a minute. Now let's say that right now you have 4 products, 3 or 4 products on video marketing. Right? And let's say you got video marketing blueprint and video marketing domination and video marketing this and video marketing that. Well, here's what you're going to do. They can be 4 different products, right? And you're going to make this into a unique offer. Now, how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to actually now change that PLR and those 4 products into one product, and you're going to call it Video Marketing University or something like that. Right? You can call it whatever you want to, but basically you want to communicate that people are going to get an entire education on video marketing. Now, how are you going to deliver that? Right? How can you deliver? There are lots of ways to do this, but my point is, when you have multiple products on PLR in different areas, right? I'm sorry, in the same area, you want to then use that PLR in a way that makes sense to your buyers, right? And so you can do that by creating a video marketing university. You can also add to that by saying you're going to be bringing in video marketing experts, right? You can actually consider that the people who put together the PLR, because all that PLR is probably going to be in different voices, right? You're probably going to have one course that's going to be done by one person, another course is going to be done by another person, and you want to make sure that your buyer knows you're going to have video marketing experts, and you're not just going to have one person teaching these courses, right? But again, remember, this is one product, right? You have 3 PLR products, but what you've done is you've changed it. You've rebranded it, and you're not rebranding it just by changing the graphics. You're changing the entire product into a compilation called Video Marketing University. Right now, what you're going to do is you're going to then use Genius Trainer Pro. You're going to section off each of those products into different sections, and you're going to deliver one section every month, right? So in other words, you use Genius Trainer Pro. Section 1 is going to be Video Marketing Blueprint, right? Section 2 is going to be delivered the next month, and it's going to be Video Marketing Domination. Section 3 is going to be Video Marketing Tools of the Trade. So in other words, what you're doing is you're giving people an education in video marketing, and you've done it with PLR, and you're getting that PLR in different categories, but yet you're getting it right. Does everybody understand what I mean? The concept. Do you understand the concept of using PLR and rebranding it into a compilation or into a university? If you understand what I mean by Video Marketing University, creating a compilation, creating one product out of 3, please put the number 3 in the question box if you understand what I just explained. I'm going to take a drink of water while you get it. How many of you all think you could do that with your existing PLR? Right? How many of you think you could do that with your existing PLR? Okay, if you feel like you can do that in one niche, please put the number Y in the question box. If that's something now you feel like, okay, I understand that, I can do that. Right? So I'm not gonna have the products as they were. I'm now gonna have that now. I'm now gonna have it as my own product. Okay, now. Okay, now you can actually drip the content, or you can just create those 3 products and you can just give it to your customers as a one-off. In other words, you just sell them access to the course in Genius Trainer Pro as a one-off price. Right? So you've taken 3 PLR products, you've increased the value by putting them all in one product, and you're selling access to that one product. Right? So you're, whatever you call it, right? Video Marketing Domination. Learn how to do, learn how to do these 3 things in 3 months, right? Or whatever the case, 3 weeks, doesn't really matter. You're combining 3 products into one. Okay, so, all right, now, I want to kind of talk about this a little bit here, and I want to talk a little bit about Genius Marketing Pro and using rights products, right? I want to talk about Genius Marketing Pro in particular. Now, what are we talking about here? How can I use Genius Marketing Pro in order to make a USP out of rights products? And let me take a step back here. Now, how many of you all understand that every product, right, really does need to have a USP? And I talked about that in a previous video, where you really need to take each product. Each product really needs to have something unique about it that matters to the people you're selling it to, right? In other words, what is it about your product that I can't get in another product that I really do want? What is it about your product that's different from other products that I really do need? So you can have 9 points that are similar to other products, but if you have one USP that I can't get anyplace else, I have to buy your product, right? Why? Because yours is the only one that has it on the market right now. So if I want what that thing is that you have, that one unique aspect, I'll buy your product just for that product. How many of you all have done that, right? So you might buy something and you might already have it. It might be similar to all the other stuff you have, but yet it has one thing that you want, and so you buy it. And so that's what you want to make sure that you have with your product. You want to make sure that you're going to have at least one USP. One of the ways you can do that is to put in there expert interviews, right? And the reason this is so powerful is that no one grouping of experts is ever going to be the same, right? No one grouping of experts is ever going to be the same. So you can literally a USP just by having unique experts in your niche, right? You can also add in additional content. Now, I think, this is kind of the lowest form of stuff. I mean, you can just jam stuff into your product, right? So in other words, if you want to put if you want to just take some of the rights products that maybe you didn't want to sell and you just want to kind of throw them all into your product as a bonus, you can do that, right? You can also add in a live webinar. Okay, Genius Marketing Pro. You're actually going to put the sign up to the live webinar on your thank you page. So when they buy your product, they're going to get sent to the thank you page, and you're going to give them a link to a live webinar. As a matter of fact, you can auto register them using the share code, right? If you use Genius Marketing Pro and Webinar Fusion Pro. Okay, let me see if I'm not sure if there's anything I can do about it. I think I can close up the see if there's anything else I can do here. And let's see, maybe there's something I can do over here. I think I've gotten everything shut off that I can here, Sam. Okay, so we'll have to do the best we can. We'll pray that the recording is good. Okay, so now we want to do a live webinar. We also we can add in a course on Genius Trainer Pro. We can put that registration of the course on the thank you page for the product we sell on Webinar Fusion Pro. Right? So if you add in a course on Genius Trainer Pro and you put that on your thank you page so that only the people that buy can register for that course, right? That's a way for you to create a USP. You can add in a specific solution. So in other words, this is something that's often done. I just saw this done on a webinar I just got off of. You want to add in a specific solution that people can't get anyplace else. Now, here's something that's really cool that people are just starting to do. And it's something that I want to suggest that you do with your Genius Marketing Pro. In other words, when you sell a product, you're going to give exclusive access to the buyers to be your affiliates, right? So in other words, the only people you're going to allow to be affiliates are going to be the people who bought it, right? So you want to make sure that this is something that's going to be exclusive. So if you allow you allow your buyers to be affiliates, then you're not going to let everybody else be an affiliate in this particular case, if you want to make that a specific aspect of your program. Okay, Sharon, that's a great question. So you're going to need to program your thank you page. So you're going to have to put those links on your thank you page, right? You're going to have to put those download links on your thank you page. Great question. So now you want to create that USP by one way you can do that is to give your affiliates exclusive access to promote your products if they buy, right? Another way you can create is to add in an exclusive reseller program. You can actually have them pay a little more, or you could just make it a part of the purchase price. So in other words, you can make it a one-off payment. That in other words, not only are you getting the product, but you can also become a reseller if you buy now, or for a limited time, right? So add in an exclusive reseller program. That's another way to add in a USP for your product that will differentiate you from other people. Another way to do that, and then see, now the thing with any of these things that we've placed here: expert interviews, additional content, live webinar, course on GTP, specific solution, affiliate training. All of these are things that you can actually add to your funnel if you want to. So you don't have to put all these things or any of these things in the products. You can actually give people access to them by having them pay an upsell price and then putting these things in the funnel, right? You can do that inside of Genius Marketing Pro. And of course, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be promoting other offers when you have your people opt in. Okay, now I want to talk a little bit now about what am I going to do with this PLR product with sales funnels? So in other words, let's say that I have that product that I had you download, right? Let's say that I have the product on sales funnels. Let's assume that I've kind of understood the pain of what the prospect wants. And let's assume also that I brought the customer up. So I talked about that in a previous webinar. In other words, don't assume everybody knows what a funnel is. Don't assume everybody knows what that means and why that means to make you money. So you might have to bring your customer up. You might have to buy some PLR that'll explain to them what these things mean. You might have to take some extra time to explain to them what it means, but bring your customer. One of the ways that you could do that with that product that I've given you is you could give them a done for you funnel. So in other words, now this is going to take some work, but this is a real upsell. So in other words, you're actually going to find a product. You're going to give them a done for you funnel. You're going to give them the front end so that all they got to do is upload it, and then they're ready to start selling once they add their PayPal button. Once again, I've done this before. I know it's work, but it's worth the work, right? So in other words, you're not just going to sell them how to do great with funnels. You're going to give them one, right? You're going to sell them one that all they got to do is upload it. Now, again, I recognize that takes work. You can outsource the work. You can pay someone to actually put it together. But again, you're using PLR products in order to do this, right? So a lot of the work is actually going to be done. All you're really doing is making it and putting it in the form for people to buy it from you. Okay, so again, you're going to add each section into a video. You either do over-the-shoulder videos or PowerPoint videos or some combination of both. And then, of course, you can add case studies into each section. Now, here's the question that most of you all are probably going to be thinking about. Okay, so whether or not I have, that unique product we talked about at the very beginning of the call, I like to divide, and this is just me. Not everybody does this. In my brain, I like to keep marketing and selling separate, right? So I always think of things in terms of how do I market? Marketing to me is getting the right people to the right offer. Right? So that's marketing. So however I get them there, however I get the right people to the right offer, that's marketing. Selling is actually making the sale once they get there. So, and both of those two things have to happen. Right? Now, you can make a better sales process if you market right by getting people who are extremely targeted and ready to receive your offer, right? If you market right. But still, you are still going to have to undertake a selling process once they actually get to the page. Now, once you do that, of course, one of the things you want to think about is when you do this, you really want to nail the selling process down. So in other words, before you start thinking about marketing, right, before you start throwing a lot of traffic at a page or an offer, you want to make sure you get that offer. That's really what because again, think about this. Let's say that you went out and you bought a lot of is only creating because you didn't nail down the selling process. You didn't figure out how to make the sale. So you can throw a lot of traffic at a page, but if you have bad sales copy, or your offer is not appropriate, or your people just don't want your product, it doesn't matter how much traffic you get. Right? Does everybody understand what I'm saying then? I know that the discussion, and I listen, I fell into that trap too, where I thought the problem was traffic, and traffic is not your problem. The first thing you've got to do is you've got to understand whether or not somebody wants what you have and if it's going to convert when they get there. Because why throw a lot of traffic at a page or at an offer that people don't want? Right? So you got to nail down the selling process down first, and you want to process the sale using Genius Marketing Pro. So you want to use your sales pages. You want to use the marketing pages. So you want a sales page. Marketing Pro, use a sales page. Use a thank you page. Okay, you deliver your course using Genius Trainer Pro. And we talked about that, right? In other words, you're going to take your PLR, you're going to arrange it so that it becomes a different product. You arrange it in a way that makes sense to the buyer, but you're delivering the course using Genius Trainer Pro. Now, why do I say do it that way? Because it's easier than using a membership site. Now, take it from somebody who's run a membership. Now, I ran a membership back in 2010 of about 200 people. And I can tell you this, that the guy I ran it with, he did a lot of teaching, and I did a lot of tech stuff. And I did a lot of tech stuff in the background. That's really how I learned a lot of this stuff. But quite honestly, running a membership site is not easy. And if it wasn't two of us running it, right, it would have been overwhelming for me to try to run that membership site when I was kind of new and having to do the tech stuff for it, right? Because neither one of us really had a lot of time to market, because he was doing a lot of the teaching, I was doing a lot of the tech stuff, and neither one of us were marketing. Thankfully, we had it on the Warrior Forum, and we had traffic coming anyway, right? But I'm telling you, one of the benefits of Genius Trainer Pro that kind of goes untalked about is the fact that, and I realize it's not a membership site, and I understand that it's not meant to be a membership site, but it is, and that's really part of the appeal of it. It's easier than managing a membership site. What you've got to do is get your content organized in a way that makes sense to your customer. But once you do that, then you are going to use Genius Trainer Pro to deliver the content. And because if you try to do a membership site, right, you're going to have stuff. You're going to have to create links. And I think what is it? There's a membership site software being sold today for $9.97 to make it easy for you. But goodness gracious, right? $9.97 is a lot of money to have a membership site software, right? I'm not knocking that. If you did buy it, I think it's great. But my point is, Genius Trainer Pro will make this easy for you to deliver content to people that are going to learn something. And you can actually put it there, and you can actually drip one course per month, right? You can set it up that way. So deliver the content. So in other words, you make the sale and you process the sale using the sales pages of Genius Marketing Pro. You deliver your content using Genius Trainer Pro because it's easy to upload. Free coupon for your buyers to see only. So in other words, your buyers are going to see that coupon code on your thank you page, or they're going to get it in that first email you have sent to them. Right now, you're going to deliver the content based on time. We just talked about that, just like you would do in the membership. Now, here's the thing about doing that. Now, when you do that, you're going to have to make sure to deactivate inactive students. So in other words, somebody stops paying their subscription, you're going to get a notification from PayPal. You need to stop their subscription, right? You need to deactivate them inside of Genius Trainer Pro. Now, I realize that's a bit of a manual process, but what I would say is that you want to outsource this task when it starts to keep you from making money. As long as you have time to do it, continue to do it. But then once you really do have to do more in terms of marketing, you outsource that task, right? So you have somebody who's going to deactivate inactive students. You can have a virtual assistant that you get from onlinejobs.ph. You can have one from Craigslist. You can have one from Fiverr, or you can do it the way I suggest you do it, and that's to get a niece, nephew, son, or a daughter, right, to handle that process. That's what I suggest you do. Now, one of the things I'm going to suggest you do is when you are doing this stuff, right, when you upload a course, when you deactivate inactive students, when you are managing things on Genius Trainer Pro or any membership site for that fact, always document your operations. Now, most people are not going to tell you that, not necessarily because they don't know, but it's just not something that we think about. And most internet marketers, when they get to the intermediate stage, is when they get stuck, right? And if you're like any internet marketer, you're going to start making sales, and then you're going to get to a point and you're going to be stuck. And the reason you're going to be stuck is because you're probably ready to outsource, but you're not ready to outsource because you don't have your operations documented. So you can't just hand it over to somebody. When I don't know if you've been in McDonald's right now, but basically McDonald's has their processes down so that all the people have to do in order to work at McDonald's is push a few buttons and follow the program. But most of us think that internet marketing is so easy, so we're just going to have process. We're not going to write the process down. So when it's time to outsource and time to scale, you don't have it ready for you. You don't have it ready to hand over to somebody. And what I'm telling you is that, listen, and here's the thing. Most of us, this is what's going to happen to you. I'm telling you, and you have to hear me. You have to believe me. Success in internet marketing is going to catch you off guard. I promise you. I promise you this. And so you need to document your operations. When you get successful, it's going to happen. It's going to happen like that. And it's going to happen and it's going to catch you off guard. And you're going to think, oh man, this is great. And then you're going to be overwhelmed because you don't have processes you can hand over to people. And what's going to happen is you're then going to have to try to manually explain stuff to people. And you don't have time to train people when it's time to scale up. Right? When it's time for you to scale your business, you need to be able to scale it and give certain things to some people in order to do them. And I'm telling you, it happens to everybody at this stage. When you get in the intermediate stage, you are going to have a hard time finding time to train people and get them to do what they're supposed to do because you don't have your operations documented. Right now, this has been written in a book long before there was the internet. The book is called E-Myth by Michael Gerber. I bet some of you all have read it, but you probably didn't process it, and you probably didn't think it applied to internet marketing. I'm telling you, it exactly applies to internet marketing because each and every one of you on this call, when success hits you, it's going to catch you off guard. It happens really fast, and I promise you, you will not know then how to scale if you don't have things that you can hand over to people and make it as simple as McDonald's makes it for their employees. That's how simple it needs to be, right? And so you need to have things that you are doing on a routine basis that are easy, and you're doing it right now because you don't want to outsource, and maybe you don't have the cash flow to outsource yet. As soon as you get the cash flow, you need to hand it to somebody so you can spend your time marketing. Right? You have to do that. And if you don't do that, then I'm telling you, this internet marketing will catch you off guard. And how many of you all believe that that your success can be the thing that'll do you in internet marketing? I can tell you the number of times, I can tell you so many times I've seen it happen to marketers, right? They all of a sudden they're making sales, they're making money, and then what happens is they are overwhelmed and they can't leave their computer, right? I'm telling you. So you need to make sure that you're ready, and as soon as you get your cash flow up to a certain point where you can have somebody do the routine processes, right? You give them over to. That's right, Lyle. It burns people out. And I've been there myself, right? I have right now, I have my two daughters and they are at capacity, right? They are at capacity. And I don't say this because they're my daughters or I think they're wonderful. I mean, everybody thinks their kids are wonderful, but they're doing stuff that I physically don't have time to do. Right. And if they were not doing it, I'd be frazzled. I'd be frazzled to a straw. So one of the things you can do right now, if you have some nephew, millennial laying around the house, get them involved. Right. Okay. So process using Genius Marketing Pro, deliver using Genius Trainer Pro, and you sell using Webinar Fusion Pro. Remember that the operations and selling, you want to keep them separate. Now, you can sell your product on a live webinar, right? So again, if you don't know how to sell a product on a live webinar, I think Dwayne has a product called Webinar Wealth 101. Some of you all have it. I suggest you get it, right? If you haven't watched it, you want to learn how to sell on a webinar. What'll happen is if you sit down and you watch that, and you might feel like I'm not too good on the webinar, but I promise you, if you just do what he says on there, you'll be better than you were before, right? You'll be better, right? All you have to do is get better and use direct response. If you get better and you use direct response marketing on a webinar, you're going to sell some stuff. Even if you get on a webinar and I'm telling you, you could just absolutely step on yourself and just blow it, and you'll still make sales, right? So sell using Webinar Fusion Pro. Sell using an automated webinar. If you have Webinar Fusion Pro and you don't have automated webinar, I'm just telling you, you're just missing out, because the automated webinar is what frees up your time, right? Because once you actually figure out what's converting and you figure out what you're doing in a webinar, what you need to do is automate the webinar. And then where do you send your traffic? You send your traffic to the automated webinar. So you opt people in, get them on your list, and send them immediately to the automated webinar, right? And I don't suggest that you even try to pretend that the webinar is live, right? I would suggest that you don't pretend. Emmanuel, send me an email. Send me an email and I'll send you a link to it, right? I'll send you. I think I've got a link I can send to you, right? Send me an email. I'll send you a link to it. Okay, so you can email me at support@gamemindshare.com and I'll send that out to you. Okay, so now, sell on an automated webinar, right? Sell your product there. And then, right, send the traffic to the automated webinar. Send the traffic to the automated webinar, right? So don't send the traffic to some place where, to just a landing page. I know people who they use Webinar Fusion Pro. They don't use bonus pages, right? And sometimes it's not going to make sense. Sometimes you will convert more by getting people hyped up before they go to the sales page, rather than telling them you're going to give them a bunch of stuff, right? You have to understand where your traffic is coming from. You have to understand what they want. And some people are going to be more apt to buy your product if you get them on an automated webinar, once you figure out what's converting right now. Okay, so I talked about automating the traffic. So once you start sending traffic to the automated webinar and you figure out what's working, you're going to want to pay to automate the traffic. Now, why do you want to pay to automate the traffic? Because again, as long as you're profitable and you can cover the expense of having the traffic automated, what does that mean? What does that mean if you can create an income stream and you automate the traffic and you've automated the selling process? What does that mean? That means then that you are literally, now how many of y'all have heard of making money on autopilot but didn't quite understand exactly what it meant? Right? That's what it means. That's really what it means. It means when you can pay, and yeah, it frees up your time. Exactly, Helen. That's exactly what it does. It means then that you're free then to start another income stream. It means then that you're free then to take the cash flow and do something else with it. Right? It's free. That it means then that you can do something else with your time other than make that thing make money. Right? And again, this really kind of goes back to number one, documenting your processes, and number two, going the extra step. Right? You have to go the extra step once you start making money. How many? See, I can tell from having to talk to people, guys. You have to believe me on this. You find something and you stick to it, you will eventually make it work. And internet marketing is going to work for you, and you're going to start making money. Right? You have to. If you just have to really stick to something, and most of you on this call who are still here, you're going to start making money at something. Right? And so what you have to do is what it takes a higher level of thinking to understand, number one, to document your, number two, to automate your traffic, right? And I'm even talking about to the point where you're not even setting up the ads. In other words, if you get your cash flow to the point, even if you're not as profitable, when you get your campaigns working and you know it's working, and you outsource that or you give it to somebody else, what you have to do is to be able to cover the cost, right? You have to cover the cost, because why? And I've heard Russell Brunson say this, and I didn't really understand it until I'd actually experienced it. The key to success in internet marketing is for you to be able to spend a customer than your competitor, right? When you can start spending money to acquire your customers, right, then that means all you've got to do is take your profit and buy more customers, right? And so you're then out of the process of manually doing this. You're managing the process as opposed to setting it up. The reason why you sit at your computer for so long, right? The reason why internet marketing takes so much of your time is because you're setting up the processes and having to see the money come from it. You have to get to the point where you automate the setup. Okay, if you get what I'm saying, that is the point that you're pushing toward. You have to understand, you have to get one thing working, and it has to be working to the point where you understand the numbers, and then once you understand the numbers, you keep doing it until you automate yourself out of it. And even if you take less profit, that's fine, because the thing is working and making you money without you having to work it, right? The thing that's taking a long time, the thing that takes your time is the fact that you're working it and making the money. But the point at which you're no longer working it and then it's making money, you're automating your traffic, you've documented your operations and given it to somebody else, you then have an autopilot business, right? That's what that is. So however you do that, whether or not you do CPA marketing, whether or not you do product creation, whether or not you do affiliate marketing, you push to the point where you're automating the traffic, right, and having somebody else do the do the operations, right? Okay, so I'm sorry to spend so long about that, but I really, as I was sitting here, I just really kind of felt like I wanted to make that point to you, because that really is autopilot income. I know we you talk about it, we talk about it, you hear it talked about, and you kind of wonder what it is and whether or not it's hokey. It's real. It's just that it takes work to get it, and once you understand it, right, you can do this in any market. You can do this in any niche. You can do this in any genre of internet marketing. It's just most of us stop at the point at which the money comes in, right? And that most of us stop at we don't go the next step to automate the traffic. And I see it all the time now. Lastly, now once you put more traffic in front of that selling process, and what you start to market, right? And I'm going to close out on this. What you need to be marketing is that you need to be marketing your USP, right? So what do you market about your product? What do you market about your business? What do you market about your brand? You market your USP, right? You don't market and again, I understand the difference between features and benefits. I understand that, right? I understand between features and benefits. And again, I understand copywriting. I understand all that stuff. I understand direct response. Here's what I'm telling you. And if you think about it logically, you'll understand that. The reason we buy stuff is because of the USP. It's not because they got great features and benefits. It's not all the time that we buy stuff because of the benefits. We buy stuff because of the one thing we want on something. Listen, how many of you all have an iPhone or an Android? Now you could go out and get a flip phone, couldn't you? Right, but none of us do that, right? That's not the reason you go get an iPhone. Most of us get an iPhone because of the one thing we like. Some people like to get an iPhone because of the pictures it takes. Some people get an iPhone because of the video. Some people, it's the USP. And so what you have to market is your USP, not so much just the benefits, right? If you market the USP of your product or products, market your USP. Second thing, Okay, you target your media, right? So you start doing paid traffic once you understand what's converting. When you get something converting, you start paid traffic. Right now, if you don't understand Facebook marketing, Google marketing, all that stuff, it's put that on your education list for 2016. Right? It just put that on your education. And it doesn't matter who you learn it from, but you have to understand it. Right? Because the only way you're going to be able to scale is you eventually look, organic traffic is great and it's cool and it's what the internet is about. But eventually, at some point, if you want to scale up, you got to advertise. Right? That's the fastest and best way, but you have to understand what you're doing. So if you don't understand it, you don't know it, whether or not you buy it during somebody's launch, whether or not you go to it, do it on purpose, but you have to learn paid media, right? All of us do. Get organic traffic from blogging, video, and SEO. That's easy traffic. That's free traffic, right? Converting, Keon, means that you turn a visitor to your site into either an opt-in or a sale, right? So somebody comes to your site, they either become an opt-in or they become a sale, and you're converting them into something that makes you money, right? So organic traffic, that's where your branding comes in. So you're blogging, doing video, SEO, something. Doesn't have to be doing all of it, but some of your traffic should be coming from blogging, video, and SEO. So okay, so yeah, so if I have an example of conversion, so in other words, I have 100 people who visited my site to look at Screencast University, and of that number, maybe say 10 people bought. So my conversion rate is 10%. So that means then that I know that every 10 visitors that I send to that page, provided the traffic is similar, I'm going to be able to get, right? I'm going to be able to get 10 buyers generally. And so what I know then is if I know those numbers, right? If I know I'm going to get a 10% conversion rate, then I can figure out how much I can spend on traffic. Does that make sense? Once I know the conversion rate and I know how much money I can generally make from 100 visitors, then what do? I then know what I can afford to pay for 100 visitors, right? Right. So then what I try to do then is I try to start to make that 10 go to 12, right? I start making adjustments in my sales page. Maybe I can get it from 10 visitors to 13. So, okay. So you understand what I mean by conversion. Okay. Now, you want to market getting social traffic. And a lot of us do this already, right? We use forums, we use Twitter, we use Facebook. Now, unless you're paying somebody to do this stuff, Facebook, forums, and Twitter, how do you do this stuff? You got to do it in real time. And some people are really good at it and it pays off, right? Some people are really good at Facebook marketing. Some people are really good at Facebook branding, but it's all done in real time, is it not? I mean, you can automate stuff and you can get bots to do stuff, but the best, if you're going to do it organically, you got to be there to do it. You got to take the videos, got to take the pictures, you got to upload them or pay somebody to do it. Same thing with Twitter and forums. It's real-time marketing, right? So now, what else do? You make sure you have a funnel in place. Why do I make sure I have a funnel in place? Well, we've been over, this is the big deal in internet marketing. We probably beat this dead horse, but I'm just going to mention this again, right? So if I go back to my example, I know I have those 10 buyers, right? Of the 100 that I sent there. If I can get 30 of them to convert into another offer, that means then that I'm able to generate profit without having to buy without having to buy new traffic. So in other words, the existing traffic is still making me money. And then I don't have to go out and get new traffic in order to make more profit. Now, lastly, okay, you create avenues to build your list, right? So we could go over that. And again, we're just talking about in general, how do I market to my offer? So you know what? I can do paid traffic. I can do blogging, video, social media. I can do social traffic. I make sure that I have a funnel. Now that's traffic that happens once the buyer is actually in the buying process, but it's still traffic, right? If you have a funnel, that's traffic. In other words, somebody has bought your product and you're showing them a second and third offer while they're still in the buying process. So in other words, the traffic is already there. If you think about it, that's marketing, right? That's traffic. And that's why you need to have a funnel whenever you have an offer right now. And lastly, look for opportunities to build your JV relationships. And one of the things that I'm thinking that, an area that's kind of wide open these days is when you have a product, you have buyers, you recruit them as your affiliates. Product, right? Train them how to sell your product. There's a gentleman named Patrick Chan who does this, right? Who used to do this, or maybe still does this. I don't know, but does a very good job of this. Sells them his product and then trains them as his affiliates. It's a classic model that anybody can replicate, right? Anybody can do that. You create a product and then you have affiliates sell it. So let's say that you only have 3 buyers for your first product, right? And 2 of them or 1 of them becomes your affiliate. What is that probably going to do? What if that guy sells 2 of your products? Maybe he makes 2 sales. What do you then have? You have 2 new buyers part of your list, and you didn't even do the work. All you did was got a buyer, and then one of your buyers actually went out and then made 2 sales. Yes, you paid them a commission, but what did you pay them for? You paid them for what? You paid them to give you a customer. You didn't pay them. It wasn't just a commission, right? You paid them because they did the marketing for you to bring you a customer. And that customer is probably going to spend more money with you because if they liked your product enough to buy it from them, they'll probably buy more of your stuff. Right? So always think about this aspect of adding and training your own affiliates. Because again, you don't need big numbers, right? You don't need big numbers, right? So you start thinking about, well, I only had 5 buyers for my last product. Well, did you train them? Did you ask them to become affiliates? Did you ask them to refer their friends, their family, right? Did you ask them if they wanted to make a commission? Who knows your product best than the person who buys it, right? Recruit them, right? Now, again, I know that you got to have some safeguards in place. You got to try to figure out, if somebody's a fraud and all this other stuff. But again, no process is going to be foolproof. And in some ways, I would almost like that affiliate better than just somebody that I don't know, even if they can make a ton of sales, right? So if you have 5 sales and then you recruit 2 of your people to go out and then they actually become your affiliate and they make 1 sale, right? 1 sale each, they both brought you 2 customers that you didn't have before, and all you did was pay them a commission, right? Now, lastly, okay, always use direct response marketing, right? Always use direct response. So, again, I mean, I do believe market USP, but again, you should always be using direct response. Branding is a luxury, right? Branding is a luxury, and I want to touch on this, and you have to be careful, right? I understand. How many of you all know the Facebook game? Right? How many of you all know the Facebook game? So you get on Facebook and you say, hey, look how successful I am. Would you like to buy what I have? Or look at what I did. Look at all this weight I lost. Would you like to buy what I have? Or look at how good my relationships are. Would you like to buy what I have? And again, I know that works, and that's branding, right? That's branding. But again, are those customers going to be loyal to you? Right? If anything that's easy to get is easy to lose, right? And so what I would suggest to you is that if you're going to market on Facebook, you got to get those people off Facebook, not just to become your buyers, but you got to get them onto your list. If you're going to use Facebook that way and social media that way in order to generate leads and generate sales, those are not going to be your customers if you don't get them onto your list. Right? You still have to do list building, even if you're good at branding, even if you're good at posting your results and getting people to buy. Direct response means that you say something in order to get people to buy. So in other words, I say everything I do then is not to make me look good, it's to get you to buy. So I'm talking direct to you. I'm directing my conversation so you'll respond. I'm not directing your response. I'm not directing my conversation to you to get you to think and hold me high in regard in high regard. Right? It's a different way to market. Right. So in other words, my whole conversation to you is about you, but it's to get you to buy. It's not to get you to, it's not to brand myself. Right. Now, again, I know there's a place for branding. I'm saying that you want to have a balance of direct response. Okay, so guys, it's 10:03. I'm sorry for keeping you a little long here, but I did want to finish. I had some things I had to finish from the last session. And we will pick this up again tomorrow on Thursday. So between now and then, you should still be working on your product, right? You've actually got some ways to create your product, even if you don't want to create videos. Everybody who's got Webinar Fusion Pro, right? You can definitely create a webinar and start marketing. Okay, so if you don't have a copy yet of Webinar Fusion Pro, I'm going to put this link here in the box, gamemindshare.net/fusion. Right, and I just suggest that you get it. And also, again, remember now the bestseller summit. And I think that it's a fantastic way to spend your time if you have time to be there. I think they are gonna all be recorded. Right? They're all gonna be recorded. So I'm gonna be there starting next week. If you want to go there, I think it's gamemindshare.net/author webinar. Okay, so if there are no questions, that's going to be it for tonight. And we'll pick it up again on Thursday, and I may do and we might just let this be the we might just leave this as the integration training, right? Because we talked about all three platforms. We talked about Webinar Fusion Pro, we talked about Genius Trainer Pro, we talked about Genius Marketing Pro, and how you can use them to create your product. So I may just let it out of the. I may just not do tomorrow night. I have not yet, Sharon. I will be. Yeah, all the links are there, but I don't know why if what is it the Windows Audio may not be playing for you. So I'm going to try to get another format in there for you. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you very much for being here. Have a great day, a great night, and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care. And again, guys, we probably will not meet tomorrow night. So I will probably not do the integration training tomorrow night. We'll just let this be our integration training for Genius Marketing Pro, Genius Trainer Pro, and Genius Webinar. Okay, yep, I'll take a look. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you very much for being here. Have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Has the description been updated for training courses or? I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure, Samantha. I'll have to take a look for that. Inside PayPal. You know what? I don't know the answer to that, Samantha. If you will send me an email reminding me of that, I will take a look at it. But just if you send me a reminder, I'll take a look at it. I don't know if it is or not. Okay, yeah. Just if you would just send me an email reminding me of it, and I'll take a look at it. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you again for being here. And once again, we will probably not meet tomorrow night for the integration training. We'll let this stand as integration. So I'll send that out in the email tomorrow. Okay, so with that, thanks everybody. Have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.